My name is Wolf, and today we are back with Our Life Beginning and Always with Derek's epilogue. Are you proud of me for securing such a strong player for Team Wolf? I am. He's a ringer. And I don't mean that. I don't mean that just because he's waiting to put an actual ring on your finger. Hell after then, hell after then was sweet and tingling. It reminded you of your mom more than your sister. But you did take after your parents in a lot of ways. Clearly, the Suarez family gets to know this before me. What else have you told? Your mom's a Mr. Horton, and now you. That will have to do.
Leave it to me.
You'll be the first in line if Callie does go through with the plan. Lovely. I knew this relationship was wise. Your heart was completely full. You gotta tell your moms, your dad, and your sister. And they all supported you just as Derek's family did. It was settled. Life was great. Except for the fact you weren't able to come up with anything to say. You couldn't keep repeating how happy you were, but didn't know how to move on. Luckily, someone else had an idea. So, Nicholas spoke without being spoken to for the first time in an age. And more amazingly, the phone was gone. It must have returned to the comfort of Nicholas's front pocket. Want to see the pool? There's one here too. We can dip our feet in, get some sun, hang out. A pool? As a young lady raised by the shore, she had ingrained beach snobbery, but she didn't need a guy from Derek to correct her attitude. I'll check it out. That'd be great. Derek piped up in agreement as Clary nodded along.
Let's get to it.
Let's do it.
Go on.
That's a perfect plan. You go enjoy yourselves. Dad and I will stay here. Take a break from parental supervision. Mr. Suarez had a very proper chortle. They certainly do not need any supervision. They are mature adults in their own rights, beside Nico, but he's close. His childlike reliefulness was followed by a frustrated sigh that was distinctly teenager-like. We're leaving now. Nicholas said we, but obviously was going with or without anyone else. He was grown up enough to make that decision.
See you.
See you. Nicholas slipped a key off the hook and went by the door and was out. Hurried goodbyes were exchanged, and the rest of the sibling group made a beeline to catch up with Nico. Your target was strolling through the halls, hands on his hips, whistling a tune. His nervousness had cleared up as soon as he left. Nicholas cast a glance back at the crowd stumbling up to him, covered a smile and struck up the casual conversation. I've gone to the pool for at least a couple of minutes almost every day since summer started. It's basically a ritual. That's cool. You need your daily dose of chlorine. That I do, bro. The party of five continued onto the ground floor of the apartment complex and out the back. Nicholas took out a keycard for the pool door. He already had it on him before ever suggesting the idea. He meant it when he said going there was a regular occurrence. The normal key he must have took was for the house. The area itself felt familiar, as if you were the one going there every day instead of Nico. The pale blue rectangle surrounded by identical lounge chairs. It was a pool. And for those who want to see the pool without the text, and there you are. I like both pools as far as had brought you to. They had unique charms and qualities, the width and gradual increase of depths, how the stairs were arranged, it all stood apart from the other locations. While everyone else stood at the entrance, Nicholas kept walking. He headed straight to the edge, crouched below, rolled up his pants leg, shifted onto his butt, and dunk his feet into the water. Liz and Jorge shared a side-eye glance. There had been assumption that you'd be hanging out together. Nicholas, however, didn't show much interest in that sentiment. His mood had been all over the place, and ultimately, Liz and Clary liked to deal in space. The two camped out side by side lounge chairs, close enough to keep an eye on Nico, but not enough for conversations to be audible between the pair and Solo. Derek watched the ships fall. Despite this supposed to be a fun in the sun adventure with the whole gang, he was frowning. The water sloshed from Nicholas's kicking feet. His eyes were towards the sky, and those long strands of brown hair were nearly brushing concrete tiles. He felt much farther away than he physically was.
Anyway,
I'm gonna stay with Nico. Being a pool is one way to go, and he might like the company. Would you mind if we just wanted to be me and him? It's been a little while since he's gone any one-on-one time. You don't have to worry about me for that. That's so polite. Thanks, Callie. Maybe it's not a big deal, but I'd hate to make you feel like I was ditching you out of the blue. Derek, it's okay. Go to your brother.
see you.
Yeah, see you. You wave one another off in parted ways. Your assigned companions were stretched out quite comfortably as you approached. Neither lifted their heads from the rests underneath them, but their brows went higher.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey. Hey, you two. You took the chair on Liz's right. It was free and next to your sis. That's all you needed. He watched you intently as you settled in. How kind of you to spend time with your old sister. Your fiancé's in the other direction. Hey, you're the one who abandoned me for your new brother. Meekly, Clary responded to the quip meant for your sister. It made him too bashful to ignore. He wasn't trying to abandon you for me. No, I was. Liz! You and your sister grinned wickedly at sweet, sensitive Clary. Then Liz primly smoothed out her romper, while working out the crookedness of her expression. Well, before you arrived, Borge mentioned the recent Father's Day celebration that happened, and how mild it was. Fitting for him, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And she just had to give her usual Eliza Bratz commentary right now. The plastic seeds creaked as Liz and Clary stretched their torsos to lob the mutual glows across the space between them. And then they fell back down, all smiles and snickers. Liz sent some of that energy your way and slipped her arms behind her head. I'm not surprised you had Mr. Holden attend. Vacations, graduations, let's not forget upcoming marriages. There are a few important moments he hasn't been there for ever since he moved in. And I wouldn't want to keep it that way. I hope he'll be there for all major moments of my life. Beautiful. If he was here, you would have made him cry without mine. But as I was saying, nothing about the event was unexpected. Though it's possible my standards are too high, I need to accept that nothing will ever be tolerable. I need to accept that nothing will ever top the first time. How can you be a couple of 13-year-olds skipping town to have a Father's Day party with one of their sisters and no dads in sight? Liz freed her hands in order to spread them out in a wide shrug. Oh well. Father's Day parties are predictable. You should look in the mirror. I knew you'd be joking about that forever, and you still are. Maybe you were predictable too, because she squinted at you cruelly, the retort already on her lips. It's my responsibility, as the oldest, to carry on the family history, especially the embarrassing pieces. Oh, I know you have to. The more something means to you, the more sarcastic you have to be about it. That one got her to pout. Sheesh! This is normally resolute attention began to waver. It was because Clary had first. She had been distracted by him and his disturbances, his brothers. Derek and Nicholas remained on their own. The men on the water's edge were in their own little world. The elder had an arm around the younger's shoulder. His head was resting against the tall Suarez's shoulder. Clary couldn't know what they were saying from that distance, or if they were even speaking, or what expressions were on their face from that perspective, but his gaze remained set. Clary? The unexpected firmness in his voice entirely snapped him out of his growing reverie. Yes, there is something we must discuss. There is.
So?
Duh! You've danced around the details, but now that we're face to face, you must tell me. Who's this person you're seeing actually like? What?
Come on.
Clary, how can I judge if they're good enough for you if there's nothing to scrutinize? And is they even right? I'm starved for details. There's, Zaya? Pronouns, so. Progress. We've made progress. What else? What's their name? Never. We're both at the same college, both in STEM, and met at a speaking event where people from different majors and classes all attend. Aww, how did it happen? You two making a connection? Basically, between talks, most people hung around the halls waiting for the next to start. Neither of us made attention to strike conversations with others, and ended up gravitating towards each other silently. The sister couldn't help interrupting. The comment in her head was too good to keep to herself. She giggled delightedly, gravitating. What about to describe a couple of nerds coming together? Go on. You know, I'm not an expert in small talk or interested in it. Never overthinks things. It makes chatting with strangers a challenge. But after waiting around for what had to be at least 15 minutes, they started asking me questions. It went from there and kept going. We exchanged numbers at the end of the event. Back then I thought Zayd had gone bored after doing nothing for so long, but Nova had told me later that they had been trying to get themselves to say something already the entire time. The sight of Clary, so absolutely aglow, was enough to make Liz shrivel. Oh no. I'm being won over already! He'll be the backup when you bring Zem home, Derek. I doubt it. Don't worry, sister. I'll be bad cop. No matter how good Nova sounds, I must make sure Clary is defended. Godspeed, Callie. Thank you? You, Liz, and Clary continue to familiarly chat amongst each other. Or rather, you and Liz kept getting Clary to dish on his life in college with Nova and the friendly and not so friendly acquaintances he had made. But eventually, What's up, everyone? You turned your face up. Standing over you three was a solid figure of Derek Suarez. Behind him was Nicholas, fitting with the strand of his wild mane. The youngest and eldest Suarezes had finally ended their quality alone time. Whatever went on between them, they didn't mention it. Clary or Liz didn't ask. Her sister was too keen to pry into Clara's romantic life, and not the worries between two brothers. Welcome, boys. Take a seat anywhere you like, I don't mind. The last hints of pensiveness lingered around Nico's softened the rash greeting. I'm the only person in this whole area who lives here. Where'd you get all that authority? Liz is the boss wherever she is, whether it's true or not. Liz struck a dignified pose, with one shoulder jutting forward, and her hands on her hips, but the fact she was lying down while doing it made it fairly silly. It's easy to be in charge when you're always the oldest. No matter how tall or muscular any of you kiddos get, I've got 2 to 9 years on you. Don't forget it.
I know.
We won't, I guarantee you. You bring it up often enough to ensure that.
Good.
Good. So you gonna accept my graciousness? I think I'm gonna pass. All the chair's promises of lounging, I don't feel comfortable in them. They're always either too slick or too stick to your skin in no slippy freeway with zero in between. I'll miss on the seat too. Of course you will. Clary and Liz were so tickled by the simultaneous responses that he was sure they would have high-fived if he wasn't so reserved, and she was not Selm behaving maturely. Nico's slight frame was entirely unmoving by the teasing. Derek, however, did react with an awkward chuckle. Now the whole group has reunited with ease, as if the five of you have been chatting the entire time. Liz hummed, self-satisfied. I'm not complaining, but I have to say it's weird to be sunbathing at a pool in a beach. Pools have their furs, if you say so. Crossing his arms, letting his eyes shut, Hari shared his own perspective. It was rare, but always welcome. I think it's weird to be at this pool, not the one we grew up with. Oh yeah? I only ever saw it from a distance. I don't know the joy of truly being there. This is too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's better than this one.
Yeah.
Yeah! Yeah, for me too. While the other bros were set of nostalgic grins, Liz's smile was far more devious. If you want to, I wonder if we could sneak peek. All gentle sentimentality dropped from Paris's face and onto the floor, and metaphorically shattered. The idea of doing that never in this lifetime would have crossed Paris's mind if he had left on his own, but Liz was here, and continued to make her cakes. There has to be a way to slip in. We don't have to be long. No one will know we don't actually live
I
there.
figured.
Elizabeth never changes. Her rule-breaking intentions were brushed off entirely with a light-hearted laugh by Derek. It was nothing more than talk. At least it had to have been, till a calm, even voice made it real. We could do it. The lock broke years ago. No way have they fixed it. Derek snatched the mantle of brazen. Derek snatched the mantle of brazen induced shock of Clary due to the middle son's stunning suggestion. Nicholas whistled in amusement. He wasn't nearly as scandalized. He really brings out Clary's bad boy side. Damn straight. Maybe I shouldn't have brought her after all. I don't know, Derek. Impulsiveness seems to run in the family. Do I have to be reminded of that? Do I have to remind you of that time you jumped into the old pool while fully dressed? The whole group laughed. Liz hadn't been there, but the fact like that couldn't keep things under wraps. His brother, parents, friends, and random acquaintances were all aware of the night Derek took a night swim in a sports jersey and jeans. Exactly. I'm not the only Suarez with a mischievous streak, Bart.
Come on.
Hey, Miko's worse than both of us combined. Guilty as charged. Liz, Nico, and Clary, the troublemaker. Oh my god. I'm gonna read it in order. It's words. Liz, Clary, and Nico, the troublemaker trio, within shared sneaky glances between one another.
What?
Whoa, you can't be serious. We're already out of the pool. Not even swimming in it. We don't need another more illegal one. I can't do that. I really can't. Your recklessness is worrying, Callie. Is that what you want? Your unease is catching. Clary and Nico began to frown. The oldest, allegedly, most mature person there was, mattered entirely. Well, to be fair, it's still 3 against 2. Fully committed to the criminal persona, Liz threaded her fingers together and spoke with leading coyness. He cared nothing for what was fair, but could use it to advantage against Derek. Having played hero to Derek Suarez, he leveled a cool glance at Liz, not backing down 1 inch. He had his own reasons to feel confident. Are you sure it's standing? I'm saying for sure that we shouldn't go. It's the opposite of being good hosts. The Suarez brothers are better than that. He gasped. It was obvious where this was coming from. He turned to Derek to look at us soon-to-be former cohorts. The defiant gleam in their eyes had faded entirely, replaced with steadfastness. It's probably for the best that we don't. There's nothing we could do there that we can't do here. In an instant, Liz, alone in her position, it would be a sad day when Derek and yours earnest advice couldn't reach to the babies you'd sat. Liz rolled her eyes. It was funny how that signature of the oldest of your family and the youngest in theirs. Her tight-lipped smirk was still her own and present in the moment.
Okay.
We'll stay. Thanks, everyone. I appreciate it.
Forget it.
No worries, I figured I could count on my bros. Clary and Nico, being proudly like good-natured big boys they were. As long as you and Dark were there to watch them, they wouldn't be led astray by other parties. After the near disaster, the gang resettled into their places, with the appropriate pool. They held session continued as it ended. Clary stood near his brothers as he recounted the recent paper he penned of the Doppler effect. Nico and Derek gleefully expressed awe at the achievement.
Nice work.
You've always been the smartest of our operations. With 3 chances, at least one of us had to go have a decent amount of brain cells starved together. Brains, brawns, and looks, you brothers have it all. I know how to get them all blushing. A full set of rosy faces grinned at you. Thanks, Callie. Clary's informative explanation was cut off fast-paced technopop beat. That wasn't about June, but it made Nicholas shriek. He's calling now? He scrambled to retrieve his long-abandoned phone. The events of the morning came back to you with clarity. He was the reason he'd been so distracted. He watched the team cautiously. Nico had completely frozen after managing the other device out of his deep pocket. What do I do? Answer it. Oh yeah. Was Clara's plain reply. It was perfectly reasonable, and the only other option besides not answer it. Unfortunately, with that bit of common sense and no help from Nico, his breathing was rapid and the phone shook in his hands. Derek, you give advice. You've got more experience liking someone than me. I've only found one less than a year ago. In most cases, Derek was the first to jump at solving a problem, but he pretended not to see the whole scene, at least, until he forcefully been thrown into the event by Clara's straightforwardness. He was not nearly as forceful as Nico, but at least able to offer it himself.
Oh, man.
I'm not sure romantic history makes me an expert, but I haven't figured that our backup plan was a good idea, even after 10 years.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. While the brains and brawn can't deny it for the trio. Your one weakness is clear. None of you boys can wait to save her life.
No.
He's not my crush. As much of a mess of Nicholas had dissolved into, he was still together enough to set that misunderstanding straight. He was so offended his voice cracked. He's a psychic. I've been on her waitlist for months. A psychic? Then just answer. Clary reasserted his suggestion, this time with an extra dose of obviously under the tone. There was no reason to hesitate as far as he could see. It had to be done. Nico bit his lip, twisted his face away from the screen, and, for good measure, squeezed his eyes shut. Finally, he tapped to answer. Hello? A small, high-pitched voice was on the other line. He knew what it would sound like because you'd heard it yourself. His phone was on speaker. Nico realized with horror. Everyone else was forced to be aware of it as well. Is this Nicholas Suarez? It's Miss Scala. I'm calling all the way from St. Sarabel boarding school to tell you the future. Give me a 10 and you'll know what to do then. The catchphrase was well rehearsed and full of approachability. However, was there to serve, but Nicholas only managed to squeak and fumble to turn the speaker off without hanging up. Liz didn't have a similar struggle. She couldn't stop herself from voicing a thought aloud and entering the conversation. I've had that before. St. Sarabel. What do you mean? Who are you? Rather than replying the queries offered her, Liz instead delightfully declared the answer to the mystery that had only been in her head. That's where Charlotte attended high school. I think he was there for part of middle school, but that's besides the point. You know a fellow SS Bytes? What's his last name? Maybe I can tell. I can maybe, if the stars align, tell you about his future. Nico only watched helplessly. He wasn't cut off by Carla changing the phone setting now. He couldn't cut off Carla by changing the phone setting now, but the words weren't working enough for him to explain she did not have to chat with Liz. Either unaware or pointedly avoiding Nicholas' stare, Liz bulldozed ahead. His name is Charlotte Leon Fields. But don't strain yourself to come up with something. He's 22 and graduated from that school years ago. I imagine you won't have much to say about that. That breakdown of the situation was punctuated by a snort from Liz. Miss Carla came back right off with a scoff of her own, but Miss Carla came right back with a scoff of her own, before she could even spoke. You got the impression Liz had met a challenger in smugness. I do know Charlotte Fields. He's got those huge eyes and freckles and all those hats. I've always lived in this town. I didn't always go to SSB, but I lived right nearby when he first moved in. So that, I know him and his whole group. They're infamous. Huh. For all her normal snark, your sister was speechless. She didn't even try to further compete. You couldn't blame her. The random psychic, the little brother of your boyfriend, Ford was familiar with your childhood playmate. Whether it was luck, chance, fate, or pure coincidence, it was definitely odd. Wonder if this group she referred to was the same one Jeremy was also part of. He and Charlotte did attend the same school together. He might have multiple acquaintances in common with Miss Carla. Anything about a guy Charlotte didn't like? Jeremy hated him too. Carla didn't bother asking who you are. The question got an instant reaction. Charlotte Fields and Jeremy King, right? Yeah. The two of them kept talking about this terrible guy I've always been curious about. I think his name was Everett? I know who you speak of. Everett Gray. Jeremy hated him so much. Charlotte didn't like him, but he probably didn't matter enough to Charlotte to really hate Everett. I don't like Everett either. He was super annoying, but in school he was cool. How does that even work? It's a mystery to even me. But anyway, her voice dipped lower, and every word was slowly said with emphasized enunciation. It was valuable info, priced at around $10, needed to be clear. My prediction is that he's somewhere out in the seven seas. His personality isn't that different, but he somehow is not as bad. Carla chopped again, in her normal girlish tone, satisfied with the job well done. There you are, a whole reading especially for you. So you're following him online, right? He teased. No? Something about that particular shout got through to Nicholas. He blinked out of the stun look he had been stuck in for the entire conversation, and sucked up a fast full breath. Sorry about all that, Carla. It's me, Nicholas Suarez. I'm here. Oh, I almost forgot why I was calling somebody. You're the real client. What do you want to ask about?